What's up, Epic 7? Welcome to this week's Hall of Trials video. Much like last week, this week we are running Schneel as our primary DPS. You want to max out his crit damage. Get it as close to 350 as possible, and then put the rest into speed. I was able to run a destruction set because I got some really good speed subs on my Destro gear, but if you can't do this with a Destro set, by all means do it with a speed set. The important thing is as much crit damage as possible and as much speed as possible while maintaining 100% crit chance. We're a little bit shy of 100% crit chance, so we're going to make up for that by running the POS artifact. This will give us not only the crit chance we need, but also a boost to his crit damage, which will fundamentally take him up to 370 crit damage, because this does allow you to exceed the 350 crit damage cap. If you don't have the POS artifact, that's fine. Just run him at 100% crit chance. Next, we're going to be running Sylvan Sage Vivian in the back row. Remember, the back row unit sends its attack to the front row, so Schneel will be using her attack. Because she has got an imprint that gives 10% attack, I've chosen to use her. We're running the Hall of Trials artifact for an additional 40% attack on top of that. And the imprint will send attack to the front row. The big thing about Sylvian is when she S1s, she has a stackable passive that will increase her own attack by up to 60%. It's very similar to the way Landy's passive works. You can also do this with Lone Crescent Bologna. So if you want to run this with Lone Crescent Bologna, she works just as well, but Sylvan Sage Vivian does have a little bit higher of a base attack threshold, so you'll be able to get more damage out of this unit. And you want her at base speed, as slow as possible. You do not want her taking turns if at all possible. Keep her as low as you can on speed. For a Soul Weaver, I'm going to run Acades. If you don't want to run Acades, you could run Angelica, Emilia, or Angelic Montmorency. You'll just have to change the elemental color of your provoke/silence unit. You want to run Acades as fast as humanly possible while maintaining good health. I think at least 250 speed and at least 17k health. Remember, her healing scales off her HP, so you want to make sure she has high HP, but you also want to cycle her skills as quickly as possible to keep the team healthy. I've got her on Warhorn to give additional damage to the team by boosting attack. If you don't have Warhorn, or you don't want to do this and you want the fight to be more stable, put her on Rod of Amaryllis. That will make things a lot easier. For exclusive equipment, none of them really do anything except her S2. I didn't bother with it. Just skip it. Just go for one that gives you the maximum % chance to health. And finally, for our debuffer, we're going to run Fairy Tale Tenebria on the most whale gear you've ever seen. Am I right? Thanks to Illusio for pointing out that she doesn't even need gear. We're going to put her on the super duper water gun shooter for more attack for the rest of the team. If you want to add stability to this, you can run her on Etika Scepter. It lets you not have to play games with Acades S2. If you don't have Fairy Tale Tenebria, you can run Fire Kawaric in her place for your silence unit, but realize you have to go from Acades to one of the Ice Soul Weavers if you do that. None of her EEs really do anything. You don't even need to pick one up. I grabbed her S2 one for the barrier. I guess that's a little something something, but doesn't really matter that much. Just load her up with gear, put her on Etika Scepter or Card of Small Miracles or Super Duper Water Gun Shooter for the extra damage. And that's it. That's the whole team. So let's see how this fight shakes down. At the start of the fight, Ray throws his poison bottle, which is going to activate Schneel, who will cleanse everything off before the venoms have a chance to cause any injury damage. And now we just need to walk all the way to the break phase, saving Fairy Tale Tenebria's S3. So we'll start out with an AoE hit just to start building up Schneel's stacks so we can get maximum damage. And that's one POS down for him. So Acades, we'll start out with just an S1. And then we'll do this. You want to start out with that S1 because Schneel hits Vivian pretty hard, and you want to be able to sandbag enough that you can S2 to protect your Vivian. So we'll S3 first to heal everybody up. Vivian attacks. Vivian will not easily get a chance to use her S3 because as she's attacked by Ray, it keeps influencing her cooldown, so you can't rely on her to heal. Now you see how low Vivian's health is. Well, S1 here. Ray's going to smack Vivian, and now she's on death's door. This is why we saved the S2, so we could S2 Vivian to keep her alive. Ray is going to be pushing phase next round, so we'll S2 Vivian to keep her healthy. There we go. Now we don't have to worry about her dying. Schneel can S1, and as soon as Ray takes a turn, he should put the buff on the mobs, allowing us to push phase. You'll notice even with no gear, our Fairy Tale Tenebria is staying in the fight. Now, if you want to min-max your scores, I guess you can put gear on Tenny, just make sure there's no speed stats on it. Just go for damage and let her hit extra hard. We'll drop our S3 off Schneel. It's safe to use this. You don't have to worry about it not being around for the break phase, because once you enter the break phase, Schneel, everybody's cooldowns are reset, so you don't have to worry about timing that. So it's okay to use this skill as much as you want. We'll drop it again here. Everyone survived into the break phase. We'll do our S1 here, and Acades comes around just in time for our S3 to give a group heal. There we go. Everybody's topped off. One more attack out of Schneel. And now Tenebria can use her S3, and since it's an attack skill, it'll push the mobs up, and it lets us push phase almost immediately. This will put Redirect to Provoke on both the mobs. They will attack, triggering her extra attack for, you know, 4,000 damage. Sure, we take it. Buck's a buck. And now we are into the break phase. Unfortunately, we don't have the boost on Vivian. It'd been nice if Acades had cut there, so this is going to cost us a couple 100k points. 1.9 million. Now that Vivian S1s, and now that Acades S2, if she had S2'd first, we would have been in great shape, because now she S2s and we get the damage boosting buff. And now we've got the damage buff and the greater attack buff, so this should be a pretty good hit from Schneel. Dropping in at 2 million damage. Not bad. He laps around, attacks again. Another 2 million damage. Now, you might be tempted to use the S3 here to heal up. Resist this urge. Her S1 hits harder. The S1 hits harder the more enemies that are on the field, so use the S1. We got 700k damage, and that should let us save the S3 for healing outside of this phase as well. Because this will be the one time when her cooldowns aren't reset by Ray. Here's another cool 2 million damage. And unfortunately, we gotta do an attack with Acades. Be nice if we could avoid it, but it is what it is. And Schneel gets the last hit in for a final 2 million points, putting us right around 13 million coming out of the first break phase, which is really hecking good. 13.7. Wow. Okay. Roy throws his vial again. This is going to activate Schneel, who will cleanse all the debuffs. We'll still take the pop damage, though. This is a perfect chance to use Vivian's S3, because it's going to get reset. May as well use it now. This will top everyone's healing off. And now that everyone's full health, to make sure my Fairy Tale Tenebria's S3 is ready ready to provoke, I'm going to go ahead and reset her with the S2. That's why it was really nice to be able to heal with Vivian there, is it let us stall for a round to reset the cooldowns with the S2. And that's clutch to doing this without Etika Scepter. If you have Etika Scepter, you can maybe skip on that and just rely on Scepter to lower her cooldowns. But there is some RNG with that. We're kind of hurt, but we should be able to take one more hit. So we S1, we S1 again. I think my Acades is going to cut. Yes, my Acades is definitely going to cut, so we don't have to worry about Vivian dying to Ray here. We heal up, and now we are in perfect synchronicity. After this attack, her S3 will be ready, so perfect, perfect, perfect. Now we'll be able to use the provokes, redirect provokes inside the break phase in order to take care of the minions and push. So now it's just a matter of doing damage until we get there. May as well S2 ourselves, cycle our skill around. It's always safe to use Schneel's S3 because it will reset back to full no matter what the cooldowns were on it before you get into the break phase. Okay, Schneel cleanses all the bad things away. Go ahead and drop another hit in. Nice. Okay, we'll S3 for a heal. May as well just S1 for some chip damage. Okay, and here's the redirector provoke. Since it's an attack skill, it will trigger the adds, and we are perfectly lined up with Tenebria all the way in the back, and Acades is the next one to go. You can't get more perfect than this. That'll allow Acades to use her S2. This will make sure that Vivian has all of the debuffs that, or all of the buffs that she needs for maximum damage. So that gives her the big Gab buff, and now she has got both the Gab and the attack buff. This will let Schneel hit for maximum damage here. We are doing 2.46 million per hit, almost 2.5 million per hit. 1 million hit from her S1. Remember, you always want to use Vivian's S1 inside the break phase. Another big hit for 2.46 million. We'll heal up here. And we'll drop an S3 here. We'll just use the S1 for some damage. Schneel can do another 2.46 million with his S3. Well, S2, you know what? We're at the end of the break phase, and everybody's full health, so I'm going to take the time now to reset Tenebria's skills. That way, Tenebria will be ready for the next break phase early, and I don't have to tinker with the healing as much. With Schneel going next, and then Vivian going next, it's the perfect time to do it. So, we'll go ahead and reset Tenebria, get her down to a 2-turn cooldown, and then by the break phase, should be ready to go. Okay, so now her skills are reset by 1. We can do one more big S3 for another 2.46 million. Nice. And we get one last 1 million hit off Vivian's S1. 31.9 million out of the second break phase. Fantastic score. I'm pretty pleased with that. Cleansing. Tenebria is down to 1 skill cool. All we need is after this, she needs to take 1 more turn, and Tenebria will be ready to go. We gotta go ahead and stall for a round. So let's just S1. Although we can get an attack down on him, he self-cleanses before he takes a turn, so the attack down's not that important. Hopefully Vivian lives this. She does. We're in perfect shape. Now Acades' S3 should be ready, and we can top off everyone's healing, and we are stabilized yet again. We just need to make sure that Tenebria takes 1 more turn before the break phase, and it looks like that's going to pretty easily happen here. Worst case, I would have to use Acades' S2 a second time on Tenebria, but we are doing fine here. Everyone's healthy enough that instead of S2ing Tenebria, I can just S2 myself and continue my turn cycling. S1, and now Tenebria is ready to provoke on her next turn. One big hit. Roy pushes phase. Schneel cleanses. The pop damage is not enough to kill, and we can S3 and heal up. Okay, Tenebria's S3 is ready because we reset early on, so we're in good shape to just go ahead and push the phase as soon as Tenebria gets a turn. We'll drop Schneel's S3 to get a couple of points on the board. Another S1. S2 ourselves just to keep the resets going. And Vivian, and then Tenebria. Oh, one more hit from Schneel. Now Tenebria can push phase with the S3. And here we are, in the break phase. May as well just S3 to top off the healing. Not that we really need it, but it's the only thing she can do. We got both attack buffs on Vivian, so this should hit so hard. Show me big maximum numbers. What can we do, Schneal? 3 million damage per hit from Schneal. Holy crap, that's amazing. And Vivian, no slouch herself at 1.3 million. We'll S2 to top ourselves off. Schneal gets an extra hit in. 3 million more damage. Pow. He laps around, another hit. Another 3 million damage. We're up to 45 million. S1 for another 1.3. Schneal can come in with another 3 million. Heal ourselves, and this should let Schneal cut for one more big hit. Oh, it's just so sad that Tenebria is getting an attack off here, but that's the way the tuning landed this time, so we kind of got to waste an S1. So this is costing us about 1.3 million. If Schneal and Vivian had gone before Tenny, I could have gotten one additional hit off. That would have been closer to 54 million. Yeah, 54 million. But you know what? We will take 52.5 million all day long. That's a hell of a score. It secures me a solid place in the top 100. Hell yeah. In fact, that's the number 2 spot. We take it. That's fantastic. Let's see what the other people did. Okay, Ebby used Fire Coeric as his silencer, and that forced him into an Ice Soul Weaver with Amelia. That probably gave him an extra turn over me using Amelia's push, so that's probably how he got up to 57 million. Clever fight, clever fight. I'm not redoing it though. Hopefully this video helps you guys out. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys have a great rest of your week. Take care, Epic 7.